I can't believe it's already July. It's crazy to me that it's already quarter three. So, we're going to do some updated polls. This is going to be for the daughters, the eldest daughter, the middle daughter, and the youngest daughter. You can interchange child if you want, but just know I'll be pulling from a daughter energy. And each of these decks wanted to work with each daughter. And then I think one of the other decks also was speaking to one of these. We'll see which one it is. So I'm going to break these up into 3 different videos. So if you have reached this one, you must be an eldest daughter. So let's get started. All right, I moved our other 2 decks out of the way. We have some labradorite on top of this deck. I know the youngest daughter didn't have one. She didn't want one. We have some labradorite for the eldest daughter, and we have just a typical Rider-Waite Smith deck here, but it does have the beautiful blue and star background. I have realized I apparently collect a lot of blue tarot decks, so the eldest daughter is no exception. Let's see what the cards have in store. When I am pulling a forecast, really of any kind, I'm looking at the energy, the advice, and then the shadow. So, what is the current energy, or what is going to be the energy of the forecast? So, for this, it's going to be quarter three. What is the advice? Pretty obvious. And then the shadow could either be the shadow work that we could encounter during this time, or it could also be that shadow that's looming behind us, almost a warning, but really just something that we need to look out for and be aware of. I think warning sometimes is a little too intense, but let's see what the energy is for quarter three for the eldest daughter. What is the energy? Okay. In a shock to no one, the Emperor has come out for the eldest daughter. Interesting. Okay. The Five of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles as the energy. That is, I want to say, a little strange, but the Emperor obviously is a figure who is running not only a kingdom. When we think of an emperor, it's more than just one kingdom, right? It's multiple, it is complex. They are in charge of a vast area of land, of people. It is a massive responsibility, right? That's why I'm not very surprised to see the eldest daughter getting the Emperor as the energy, right? It would almost be weird if we didn't. But the Five of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles being here, I wonder if there has been an opportunity that has been presented. Could be with career. I'm almost hearing like a different path. Oh, well, you know what? There's actually a pathway and an archway in this card, funny enough. But I'm almost hearing like a different path. And that could be career, it could be, it feels life altering. And it feels like something that we maybe have really wanted to do for some time as well. But then the Five of Pentacles showing up, it's like we feel like we can't take that path for some reason. With the Five of Pentacles, what's really interesting about it is a lot of people, myself included, see it as a really negative card in general. But what's interesting about the Five of Pentacles, similar to the Five of Cups, right, is we're in the cold. We're clearly having a bad time. But this church, this glowing, beautiful, safe haven, sanctuary, refuge, the door is probably right around the corner, right? We are right outside. And even though we're in the snow, we're clearly not doing well. We've got some crutches, our clothes are tattered, mismatched. I think we've got a bandaged foot here. So we're not like doing well. But the door to this church is probably right around the corner. So it feels like there's something preventing us from taking this path. And I wonder, with the emperor here and eldest daughter being one myself, I wonder if it's the idea that you can't let go. The Five of Pentacles, scarcity, like there's not going to be enough to go around. There's not going to be enough for you if you move out of this emperor role. For some reason, it feels like you're really concerned about lack. And that could be literal resources with pentacles, right? It could be there feels like an energy of, I'm going to be honest, like, who am I if I'm not the emperor? Who am I if I'm not in control? Who am I if I'm a beginner, if I'm an amateur, if I'm starting fresh? Who am I if I have to give up, to put it simply, right? Being a collective, it's a little bit hard to get super specific, but there's a giving up aspect, and it feels like identity, but it also feels very physical. It feels like there is something, I don't know if maybe you would have to take a pay cut or something in order to go down this path if it is career, but it feels like there is an absolute give and take in order to walk this path. But it's there and available for you if you want to take it, right? The door to the church is right around the corner. So let's see what the advice is going to be for the eldest daughter. All right, advice for the eldest daughter. I think it's because I'm also an eldest daughter. I'm like, typical Six of Cups. That's why I'm Four of Swords. Two of Swords, the devil. Oh my gosh. You know, lately for me, I went through a little bit of a hiatus last year, a little bit of a hibernation more than anything. And I asked I asked the tarot to be very specific. I asked the universe to be very specific. I said, I'm so tired of trying to interpret these incredibly bizarre signs from you. Please be specific. I'm sick of this. And my readings for the last few months have just been have been so specific and so spot on. So, that being said, the advice here: Six of Cups, Four of Swords, Two of Swords, the devil. If you are a tarot reader, we can kind of stop here. But if not, the advice is not only do we have to rest, not only have we been resting in a way too. The Four of Swords to me is an interesting card. It's almost like we've been we've been taking a much needed rest. And if we're looking at the fool's journey without a ton of spirituality, universal energy into it, you're coming off of the heartbreak of the Three of Swords. So there is that rest, restorative, healing aspect to the Four of Swords. But the tomb here is open. So we've gone inside the church now, right? And this is why I'm laughing just so hard, right? Because we have the Five of Pentacles, we're outside the church, we're struggling, and now we're very clearly inside of the church. I can't make it up. It's just so funny. So the tomb is open though. I think we're ready to emerge with the Four of Swords. I think there is, again, that rest, restorative, healing aspect, but there's a movement on the back end to it as well. I think we've done the resting. So now it's time to move. And with the Six of Cups and the Two of Swords here, the devil being here and the Emperor, it and this is why I do think it feels like an identity issue to me in a lot of ways, because the Six of Cups, returning to almost nostalgia, returning to childhood. It's a very young, innocent, beautiful joy. It's stopping to smell the flowers. It's loving life for life's sake, essentially, is how I see the Six of Cups. There is this ebb and flow to life. And the Six of Cups to me is the flow in, it's coming back, right? And again, if you look at it without the spiritual aspect of it, without the channeling aspect, the Five of Cups, the lacking, the cups that have spilled over, right? So to me, the Six of Cups is that tide coming back in, that joyful energy, that emotional energy. But the Devil and the Two of Swords, I think the advice here is, and maybe this is why I was really focusing on identity in a way with the Emperor and needing to give something up. We are, let me cover these guys up. We are staying chained in a lot of ways. We're staying chained to, the devil can be ego, can be vice. This card comes up a lot of times with addiction, and I rarely read it that way, if ever. But with the eldest daughter, again, being one myself, I think we can get addicted to this identity of the emperor, of being the one in charge, because even the devil, right, is in charge. At least in this card, for sure, the two figures are chained, to him here. A lot of people, the devil made me do it, or a lot of people have used the excuse of being overtaken, I guess, by the devil, to being controlled in a way. And the Two of Swords, it's like I'm I'm unwilling to make this choice. I'm unwilling to drop one of these swords. The water is also here. The tide is out in this card. Could it be coming back in with the Six of Cups, right? The Two of Swords, one of the best descriptions I heard, the best interpretations, was when I was getting a reading myself. And the reader said to me, with the Two of Swords being like this and not being willing to make a decision, because if you're moving, if you're making a decision, if you're putting an action to inaction, one of the swords is going to fall, and you're so afraid of either being hurt or hurting others. You're afraid of getting cut by the sword that falls, that you're not doing anything, that you're just standing there holding the two swords. But something has to give, right? Something has to move. So I think the advice here is, if you haven't done this, I want to say meditation for the Four of Swords, and whether you actually meditate or you spend the day at the beach, you spend the day in the forest going for a hike, you sit down in a quiet corner and read, whatever you do that feels restorative, meditative. If you've done that, if you haven't, do that. But if you've done that, it's now really time to take a hard look at our identity, at our ego. Who are we? If we're not taking care of everybody, if we're not orchestrating everything, if we're not in control, the devil being here is almost an emperor energy reversed to me in a lot of ways. We may actually be harming people by trying to exercise this tight control. We may actually be causing harm. And with the Two of Swords, we think that by holding on to it, we're not, but I think we are actually causing harm in a lot of ways here. So let's see what the shadow is. Let's see if it's some shadow work, which if I'm a guessing woman, I would guess it's going to be, or if there's a warning or something that we really need to look out for. So let's see what we've got for the shadow for the eldest daughter in Q3. And this is taking us right up until the fall. So July, August, September. Let's see. What is the shadow for the eldest daughter? Okay, just the two then. The Knight of Wands and the Queen of Cups. Okay. So I think it is more of a shadow work than a shadow looming attached to us, following us. I've heard the phrase like a dark energy following you, attached to you recently. I don't really think that. I'm not that type of reader. I'm not that type of spiritualist. I don't think that there's dark energies attached to us in that way. But the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Wands here. Queen of Cups, we need to, I think, stop and consider ourselves. The Queen of Cups, in this instance, to me, I think we need to take a hard look in the mirror. I think that's what she is telling us. And again, whether you go to the beach and you look in the water and you ask for answers in the water, you maybe take a restorative bath with the Four of Wands. I wouldn't be surprised if you do something with water here. But it's like we need to understand the ways in which we are whole. But the Knight of Wands, we very much need to recognize the way in which we are not. Where is that impulsivity? We're talking eldest daughter. So where is that rush to help? Where is that rush to fix, to jump in, to put yourself in the mix? How is that leaving holes? How is that causing our emotional tide, right, to recede, to go out? And how can we bring it back in? I'm sure you've heard this, eldest daughter. How do we fill our own cup? I know, tough, annoying to hear. But we need to look at the ways that we are contributing to the cup being empty. And I know there's a lot of nuance, a lot of dynamics. There could be, and especially with the Emperor here, I think there is a very long history of jumping in. But if we go all the way back to the beginning, there's something new being offered to you. There's a new path to take. And I think you want to take it. So you have a choice. And that's where the Two of Swords comes in. You have a choice always in life, right? You can go the way you're going, the Emperor, the Devil, the Two of Swords, the Knight of Wands, or we can choose that new path, right? The Ace of Pentacles, the Six of Cups, the Queen of Cups here. And funny enough, it's like on the outside as well. I don't know why that feels significant. I don't ever say that during a reading, but it just does for now. So maybe that means something to you, being on the outside. I don't know. Or maybe it's just the two swords on either side, right? I'm not sure. But quarter three is asking us to really examine the ways that we are contributing to the dynamics. And it's also saying, which I love, and eldest daughter, shock to no one, it's telling us that we have the ability to change the path, to go down the path being offered to us, It does feel like a risk, but we can take that risk if we want to. But it is up to us. Honestly, there's not a lot of outside forces here. And I think that's become, I don't know, at least in the tarot or spiritual community, I'm seeing that a lot. I'm seeing the rise of somebody's preying on my downfall, somebody's sending negative energy my way, somebody's hexing me, somebody's putting this on me, whatever it is, right? And I always say most people are not that powerful, honestly, to influence your life and energy in that way. If this is a family dynamic, a community dynamic, they might be able to influence your energy quite a bit. But the good thing about that is we can control that. Again, there's not too much outside forces in this reading. It's very much we can choose the path that we want to. But the Two of Swords, we have to make a choice. We have to make a choice. Four of Swords, Six of Cups. It's okay to choose ourselves. It's okay to choose self-care. It's okay to choose a rest, but we need to make a choice after that. That's very important. All right, eldest daughter, you have a very, I'm going to say, exciting quarter 3. I bet there were a few groans during that reading because, of course, it's always up to us. Of course, we always have to do the work. Of course, there's no outside forces. Why can't someone just ever make the decision for us? Why can't someone be here to help or at least be a cause or whatever it is, right? I get it. I get it. But what is really cool about it always being on you is that it's always on you, so that you can make a choice, you can make a change, you can go down the new path. Okay. So I'm wishing you a restorative and impactful quarter 3, and I will see you back in quarter 4.